Sitting in. Okay. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Today is Wednesday, January 29th, 2025, and it is approximately 5:32 p.m. And I call to order the Building Committee meeting. First, we're going to have roll call. Cindy Liendo, Chair, present. Karina Elizondo, Co-Chair, absent. Adriana Alexander, absent. Lizzie Newsom, absent. We have with us our board president who's going to be sitting in, Mr. Esteban Rangel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
First item on the agenda, or the third item, number 3, approval of time extension for Arechiga Hall and Lamar Bruni Vergara environmental construction projects. Mr. Cesar Vela and Mr. Homer Pais will be presenting.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board President, Dr. Mita Ramirez. For the records, Cesar Vela, VP of Finance and Administration. Board members, we received a letter from Decker Construction of Texas, dated January 15, 2025, requesting a time extension for both the Arechiga Hall project and the Lamar Bruni Vergara project. The Arechiga Hall was scheduled to be substantially completed January 31st. They have requested an extension of 59 days for the Arechiga Hall project with the new substantial completion date of March 31st, 2025, and an additional 60 days for final completion, bringing the final completion date to May 31st, 2025. As far as the Arechiga Hall, some of the items that have been cited by the contractor are they've encountered some weather delays. There was some modifications to the project scope, primarily on that large meeting room, having to do with the ceiling tiles, and also some of the progress that has pertained to the project. For the Lamar Bruni Vergara, the contractor is requesting an additional 111 calendar days. The current substantial completion date for that project was December 10th, 2024. They are, with the extension, their new substantial completion date would be March 31st, 2025. With a final completion date of May 31st, 2025. That means an additional 60 days for final completion. And the items that are being cited, again, weather delays, just also the progress for the project, as well as minor modifications to the scope of work for that project. Again, this is an item that is, we are again requesting that the board approve the extension request of 59 calendar days for Arechiga Hall and 111 days for the Lamar Bruni Vergara projects.
Mr. Vela, for the record, I'd like to recognize Ms. Newsom as being present. Hi, everyone. And just also a point of information, a reminder to committee members that today is just for information purposes. We will not be making motions or voting on anything tonight. So just a little bit of extra information, Mr. Vela. What are some of the major items that are still pending on both projects?
So both at the Arechiga Hall, work continues on the inside. So we have some of the paint that needs to be done. The flooring needs to be done. There are some minor on the electrical work. The ceiling tiles for the main room also need to be completed. As far as HVAC, I believe they're still working on some of the items for the HVAC. But the major work there, again, has to do with paint, flooring. We also have some work on the exterior also that needs to be completed, mainly work on the windows as well as paint on the exterior of the building.
And does the contractor feel confident with this additional 59 days that it's sufficient to complete the project?
It is our understanding that yes, that they will be pushing to get this completed by the new substantial completion date and final completion dates.
And on the Lamar Bruni Vergara?
Lamar Bruni Vergara is a complex project. We've encountered some issues with the pond areas that required additional work. There was also a storm drainage line that was not on the proper location as per the plans. So a portion of that line had to be relocated when they were working on the bird enclosure. But that project, again, also it still needs paint. There's still work on the animal enclosures that is being done, and again, finalizing all the water ponds in that center.
Mr. Vela, and this, I'm sorry, I'll open it up for questions in a
No,
bit.
it's fine.
Both of these projects are being worked on by the same contractor, is that correct?
That is correct. It's Linedecker Construction of Texas.
And do we have two separate crews working on each one? Or do we have the same crew working on both?
I would defer that question. I don't know if we have a representative from Linedecker.
Good evening, Board and Madam President, Rene Cortez with Linedecker Construction. There are separate crews, even though we do share some of the same subcontractors, but there are separate crews running each job.
Okay.
Right.
I just want to be sure that, there is a dedicated team to each project to ensure that they do get completed. If the board approves the extension, that they will be completed within the timeframe that you're asking for.
Right. There's different trades that are being done at each job. In other words, obviously there's some common trades, but then there are some unique trades to the LBV, and then there's unique trades to the Arechiga Hall.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, you went ahead and answered them, Chair Liendo. The only recommendation or question or comment to Mr. Vela, it may be and I'm sorry, I'm going to step on your ground, but maybe for the next building committee meeting, if we could have maybe a small little presentation of the two buildings, so Ms. Newsom and Ms. Alexander that are new, so they could kind of understand what the project entails. So then that way they could kind of have an idea and a vision of what we're actually building out there. So and it's just for more of a purpose for Ms. Newsom and Ms. Alexander.
Sure.
I think it would
We'll
be a
go
good
ahead and
idea.
include a presentation on the scope and the progress of those two projects.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Ms. Newsom?
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Any questions?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to number 4, approval of construction contract for the Veterans Center project. Mr. Vela?
Yes, board members, committee members, this next item is to request approval for a construction contract for the Veterans Center project. We requested competitive seal proposals for this project. And we received 2 bids from 2 contractors. Included in your board package, you have the information for the 2 contractors, and I also have for your review, for the committee's review, the tabulations as completed by the evaluation committee. And again, these are for committee review only. The decision on the awards will be done at the Thursday meeting. So I will go ahead and pass right now those tabulations just for your information.
Mr. Muir, I have a question.
Yes,
If we have questions for the contractors, can we ask them today?
you can. And I was talking to Dr. Amidas about this particular item. I think there might be a need to go into executive session
As
under the
committee?
attorney-client 551.071 to receive some legal advice on this one.
Before we discuss?
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chair. But it would be separate with each one or with, no, but what I'm saying would, because we have two contractors, correct?
Yes,
Two bids.
Only
Two
item
bids.
number 4.
So, yeah, so we have two bids. So is it going to be separate, one with American and the other one with Line Decker, or is it going to be both at the same time?
Well, under item number 4, the board could come out and discuss both of the contractors and ask the questions
You're not
as
gonna go
needed.
back
But I
to-
think
Okay.
just for item number 4 itself, that we can go into executive session under that particular
Okay.
section and discuss the item.
Okay.
And some
Can we
legal
leave that
issues
then till the
related.
end of the meeting? Or do you
I
want
would
for us to do that
recommend
now?
before, we could do it now,
Okay,
go into executive session, and then come back out and pick up on item 4 after we're done
would it
deliberating.
be called an executive session or just a brief recess since we're not a
I
full
would
board?
call an executive session under Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, to meet with council to discuss item number 4, the approval of the construction contract for the Veterans Center project.
But we do not vote on that.
No,
No, I mean, we're not voting to go into executive session either.
no, I just call it out. Let's call it out. That's right.
Do you foresee that we'll be needing to do this for any of the other items on tonight's agenda?
Both items, okay. College president's recommending both items,
4 and 5?
4 and 5.
Okay, then we will be taking a brief recess to go into executive session for item number 4, approval of construction contract for the Veterans Center project and approval of construction contract for demolition of P7 and 8 and West Annex buildings. And just again, I want to reiterate that no motions or votes will be taken today. We were just going to discuss in executive session. And we will be right back.
Thank you.
It is 6:15 and we are back from executive session. Thank you all for staying around and waiting for us. We're going to go ahead and continue with item number 4, which is approval of construction contract for the Veterans Center project. And again, just a reminder, we are not making motions or voting tonight. It's just for information purposes. So we do have the evaluation of both companies that submitted proposals for this project. And do we have representatives from both companies here tonight? Yes? We would like to add, so this Veterans Center project, as I'm sure you all are aware of, is being funded with federal funds. So as most of you have heard, yesterday there was an executive order which put a pause on federal funding for certain projects, which has been lifted. However, we are still concerned that that freeze could affect this project. So we do have some questions for both companies. If we could have representatives step forward, please. So as we mentioned earlier, if these funds were to be frozen and that is where we're getting our funding from for this project. So if the board approves a contract tomorrow, would both companies submitting proposals be able to hold the price that was given to us for 60 days past the date of approval, which would be tomorrow, contingent on the funding? So it would be up to the board, of course, but if the board agrees, we would be approving a contract contingent on funding. Is that something that you all could both agree to today, or at least to let us know tomorrow before the meeting?
We can hold the 60, I can hold the 60 months, 60 days.
Oh, could you state your name for the record,
I'm sorry,
please?
it was Laredo said from American Contracting and Roofing.
And yes, Line Decker Construction would hold it for 60 days as well.
And you're Mr. Rene Cortez, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, I think the board needs to know that because it is going to be a big part of the approval tomorrow. Let's see, what other questions do we have? So, Mr. Duncan, do you have any questions? The price. Yeah, they said they would honor the price for 60 days.
I think that's it. That's
That
the
was
biggest
big.
one.
That's our biggest issue. Dr. Ramirez, do you have any questions?
No, I just, if I may, just to let everybody know, we're supposed to know more about this grant or this funding on March the 10th. So assuming that the board makes a decision tomorrow, March 10th, we will know more. As of today, all the money we've spent already on architects, we have not been able to draw any of that funding down yet. So we're already kind of in the hole on that one. But because they haven't opened up the way to do it yet, they're going to let us know on that day if we're moving forward, 1, 2, and if so, how and when we can start drawing down the funding. They have 6,000 projects on hold right now based on this new process. So the congressman is being extremely helpful to us and really supportive, and he seems to think we're going to be okay, but and serving on appropriations, I think that helps, but we don't know for sure, and for that reason, we wanted to make sure that you all were aware of what we're up against.
Thank you. Thank you both. So also, as part of the information that we're going to be receiving tomorrow for the full board, I wanted to see, Mr. Vela, if we could get a breakdown of the criteria. I know that we saw some score sheets, but we didn't get to see how the committee member reached that score. So we would like to see it broken down by the 8 different criteria that was used.
Madam Chair, yes, we'll have that information available for the board.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Newsom, any questions? Mr. Rangel?
No, ma'am, you
Dr.
answered my
Ramirez?
questions.
No, ma'am.
Anybody else? Comments or questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next, we have item number 5, approval of construction contract for demolition of P7 and 8 and West Annex buildings. Mr. Vela?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, again, for this, we are going to be requesting that the board approve a contract for the demolition of P7, 8, and West Annex building. We issued a request for competitive seal proposals back in December. We received 2 bids, again, from the same contractors, American Contracting and Line Decker Construction. There was an evaluation committee that was selected to score and rank the proposals. We will provide you with a copy of the detailed analysis of those proposals for the board's review tomorrow, so that a decision can be made. In the agenda item, you have the criteria that was used to evaluate the proposals. The funding for the project, this is not a grant fund, this is a deferred maintenance project. We had initially budgeted 250,000 for the project, so both proposals came over that budget that we have, so we will need to request for additional funding from the deferred maintenance.
Depending on which one is selected.
Depending on which proposal is approved by the board.
Okay, but we will see those amounts tomorrow?
Yes,
Or, yes,
yes.
okay. Any questions, Mr. Rangel?
No, I was gonna ask the funding, but Cesar actually, thank you.
Ms. Newsom? Dr. Ramirez?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Then we'll move on to item number 6, construction projects update. Mr. Homer Bice and Mr. Huicho Tijerina.
Good evening, building committee members. I know some of you are new to the actual committee. So we normally come to you every 2 months with updates on all the projects and everything that is going on both campuses, both the main Fort McIntosh and at the South Campus. So today I'll go through all of the projects that we have currently going on and give you a quick update, get you a little bit more familiar with everything that we have on our drawing board right now. This is a list of the projects that we currently have here at the South Campus. We have the Raquel Gonzalez Diesel and Auto Collision Shop, the Congressman Henry Cuellar Protective Service Center, and then here at Fort McIntosh we have the Lamar Bruno Vergara, the Arechiga facility, the Moore building, and then we have, of course, some consideration of some demolition of the West Annex and the P7 and 8 that were just discussed, along with the Veteran Center that was also talked about right now. We've also touched on some of the facility improvements on some rooftops recently here at the main campus, and I will go through them as well. Currently on the list, we have one that we worked on, which is the Lerma Peña, and then some other ones that we're currently looking at, the Kazan and the Laird Hall facility. So we do have a final completion date for the South Campus Diesel expansion project of February 19th of this year. We are currently accumulating a punch list on this particular job. These are some photos of some of the interior spaces of the auto collision section of the expansion of the facility, along with a welding shop that will soon get some welding machines and welding stations installed. Some of the new spaces showing you the overhead doors of each of the both the auto collision and the diesel shop. some of the services that have been installed as part of the scope of work, exhaust hoses and service reels for power, the large ceiling fans for air circulation. The floors were recently painted with epoxy finish as part of the scope of work. These are photos of the restroom facilities for these students. A huge upgrade on what they currently have on campus. So as you can see, some of these materials that we've now used have become pretty standard for the college now. So we're tending to stick to neutral colors, and this will become our standard for any renovations or any new facilities that may come on board eventually later on. These are photographs from the Henry Cuellar Protective Law Enforcement Facility. We currently have pretty much completed this project. The contractor does have a few punch list items that they're attending to right now, but that list has been pretty much narrowed down to very few items on the list. These are also restrooms that were built inside the existing facility to make more services for the actual cadets that take the courses there. Previously, we had very limited restroom facilities, and now we've doubled and a little bit more than doubled the availability of restroom units. Some photographs of some of the existing restrooms that got renovated, both with fixtures, partitions, paint, ceilings, lighting, and of course all of the back wall cast iron on these restrooms got pulled out and replaced with PVC. So that was a huge upgrade for the existing facility. Down in the basement, we used to have a shooting range. Couple of photographs showing you some of the large spaces now that we have. They do have two large spaces. One of them will be used for a gymnasium use, and the other one will be used for tactical training. The photograph on the left hand is a room that has been enclosed for the fire sprinkler system station. It used to be kind of sitting out in the open and enclosed with chicken wire. So now we actually have an enclosed room now for it. These are some of the interior spaces that we renovated inside the building. A new office for the director of the program. He has an adjacent conference room. And then we converted two large rooms to a large lecture hall for the cadets. I think we have a capacity of 79 students that will fit in this room. And then on the lower right-hand corner, we did a kind of a facelift, floor, base, walls, ceilings, lights, sound system upgrade to one of the lecture rooms that remained the same size. Here at Fort McIntosh, we have now completed the MFA HVAC chill water plant upgrade for 3 different facilities that cover the LEAC, the MFA, and the VPA. Currently, the contractor is working on gathering all of his as-built documents and warranty documents to go ahead and turn them over to the college and to plant facilities for their record. We've had a few warranty items that have come up, and they've attended to all of them. All of them have been completed. The one remaining thing that they were going to come back and check again is the test and balance of the facility to check the flow of air in each of these buildings. And we'll have a final report that will be included in the final closing documents. The Lamar Bruni Vergara that we talked a little bit about the extension earlier, the formal letters attached there for your viewing. If we do get the extension, then we will have a substantial completion of March 31st, and then a final completion of May 31st for this project. Couple of more photographs showing you some of the spaces, some of the new buildings on the site. The building on the left-hand side is a new vet center, and then the one on the right is the animal display. And currently, as of today, this morning, we noticed that they were already putting down the stain in these two facilities as the floor finish for both of them. Currently, what's going on the site is they're doing a lot of welding for all the enclosed areas for the animals. They're doing their foundations to go ahead and start picking up the cages that will hold the different animals that will be housed here. And then you see some of the railing work going on as well. And this is some of the railing that's been actually finished and still pending to be cleaned and primed and painted with the final color. A little bit more work shown on the alligator enclosure and display area going on. The the other project that we have here at Fort McIntosh is the Arechiga facility, interior and exterior renovations. This job has been going on for several months now. The contractor has submitted a formal letter as well with the same dates. So if approved, we'll reach substantial completion on March 31st and a final completion on May 31st of this year. Currently, we have different trades working in this building, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and we have other trades working on ceiling, suspended ceiling, wood floor, refinishing, patching up some, replacing some floors that were discovered to be rotten, and that work is currently going on right now. Some of the detail work on some of the large rooms, we tried to get the contractor to duplicate some of the existing ceiling treatments, and the architect worked very closely with all of us to go ahead and reach that goal. And I think we reached what we were looking for, and it should be really nice once it's fully completed. The facility also has renovated restrooms services on both floors, first and the second. This is a photograph showing some of the fixtures already in place. Of course, we're still missing mirrors and hand dryers and partition walls that will eventually be installed in the new restrooms. And then some of the HVAC systems, the building underwent a complete revamp of HVAC systems. They used to house all of the HVAC systems in the attic. Everything in the attic has been pulled out, and the architect designed different areas for the new HVAC units throughout the first and second floor. And this is an example of one of the HVAC closets. Some of the labor work going on, there's tape and float, repairing of some walls. A picture of the gentleman working on the exterior windows. There was some guidelines that were included in the specs and asked by the historical commission that we do to the windows, and that work is currently going on. So we have that trade also on the site. This is a small section of the basement of the Arechiga building. Most of the building sits underneath a kind of a grade and pier area, and then we do have a small section where you can actually walk in. And these are a couple of photographs of some of the work that has been going on under there. So on the left, you see some of the brand new chill water lines that have been installed. Some of the cable trays that have also been installed to bring in new fiber optic and data cables. And then the gentleman's working on some of the electrical work. And then on the right-hand side, you see some of the foam that has been sprayed on the actual structure for insulation purposes to better the interior of both the first and second floor. We also have the Moore building currently going on. That's a covered structure out in the open courtyard. We do have a scheduled substantial completion date of July 2025, and then a final completion of September 2025 after we complete punch list for this particular job. Time-wise, we're doing pretty good on this job. I estimate if we stay on the same track, we may finish a little early. But we do have a lot of work that's going on in actual spaces that are being used by students. So that's kind of held us up a little bit, but the contractor is advancing pretty well on this job.
Mr.
So,
Vice, when
yes,
you say
ma'am.
final completion for all projects, does that mean we'll have a CO by that date?
Yes, ma'am. By the time we reach final completion, normally the contractor will be working towards getting a CO for each of these jobs. And after all the inspections are reached, then the city then has a final inspection that is done by the fire department.
But my question is, when you say final completion, will you have the CO by that date, or is that when you're going to start submitting requests for approval?
We've gotten it
Permits or,
before, and
CO.
we've gotten it after.
Mhm.
And we're working very well with the city of Laredo now with the building department. So we'll work very closely with the architect and the contractor to trying to get that process going to see if we can actually have COs by the time we reach final.
yeah, because I mean, if we don't have a CO by the date that you're giving me as final completion, it could take anywhere from, 15
Right, yeah,
to
because it does take
45
time.
days to get
Yeah.
that CO in place. And I mean, that would delay it quite a bit. So at least in my opinion, I would hope that we would have a CO.
Yeah, and
by
we'll
the
work
time
on
we have
that,
final
and I've
completion.
got a nickel test here, so we'll work very closely with the city. The fire department's a very hard department to work with, we need their blessing to get the CO.
I understand.
So that's the big hurdle that we always have to cross is with the fire department.
Ma'am, may I?
But
Yes.
we'll
Dr.
work hard.
Ramirez?
So the idea behind a final completion, Mr. Bice, is that it's done. And
Yes.
that's the expectation.
Right,
Not that we're gonna, let's see, and whatever. If
No,
we need
no.
to get the fire department here, I guarantee you, if we call the fire department, they're gonna come.
right.
Yes, and that was just another point that, I think we've mentioned it before at this board, where if for whatever reason we're having trouble getting those appointments, getting them to come in and make those final inspections, that it doesn't hurt to make a call to administration or some of the board members, and then sometimes we can make that happen a little faster.
Right, yeah. Yeah. For an example, right now at the South Campus, we're going through that process, right, Renee? And getting the CO for both, for the law enforcement and the diesel shop. The law enforcement is taking a little longer because we gave them additional scope, which were the restrooms, so we had to wait for the process of getting the CO. But on the diesel shop, it's something that we're already working on to try to get a CO already.
Keep me posted, please. That's the first time
Yes.
I hear about it.
Yeah, yeah. So just more information on the Moore building. We relocated 12 welding shops, shown on the left-hand side. Those went into a new classroom area as part of the building that's already existing. And then photograph of all the electrical upgrades that has to be done to support these welding stations.
I have another
Yeah.
question on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, these welding stations, I noticed in a recent walkthrough that we had that there was connections for the stations outside in the open area.
Yes.
Are these going to be the ones kind of like rolled out, or how does?
No, these stations are stationary, but they do have some mobile welding stations that they do move around, especially during the summertime. And that's one reason why we came up with this of putting that large cover, because the students were welding out in the sun in 100-degree weather. So now they'll be able to do that, and we have the fans. And then, so now we have electrical connections for those welding stations that they used to pull out.
Do we
to the
own
open.
those portable welding stations?
Yeah, that's part of their equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of their equipment.
Dr. Ramirez?
In our last walkthrough this morning, those fans are probably, I don't know how many feet up in the air. I doubt they're really going to provide a lot of circulation. Ideally, we would lower those fans and probably add another fan because they're, one, too small, and two, they're attached to the ceiling and nowhere near going to provide circulation. So,
Do we know when the electric will be connected so that we could test out those fans?
I believe we do have power to them already.
Not
Yeah,
this
because we turned on,
morning,
They
we
told
turned
us
on the
this
lights this
morning.
morning.
but they weren't able to turn the fans on this morning.
I don't know, we requested for them to turn
I
them
did.
on.
We did.
Oh, you did? Okay, I know that they,
they're not
can we,
working yet.
can we get to see if we can turn them on, Green, maybe before the end of the week? We do have the architect, Robert Sepulveda, looking at the possibility of upgrading them to the ones like the diesel shop.
Yes.
As far as we know, so far right now, according to the engineer, it does provide or require the same electrical that is there now.
Okay.
So we don't have to do any upgrade on the electrical, it's just changing out the fan for the bigger one. So we
Mr.
are looking
Hernandez?
at that option.
You kind of answered my question, which is, which are this is what they're really called, big ass fans, right?
He said
It's
they're
a-
not
it's a
that
brand.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're not that
No.
brand.
Turn off.
Oh, but it's
They
similar
are
to those.
some.
We
correct?
refer to them as that.
Mhm.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
and these are just, I haven't seen these, but these are just in the ceiling, like a regular ceiling fan?
Yes.
Yeah, they're hung to the actual structure of the frame of the building.
It makes no sense. I hope they do get changed out because they're not gonna, like Dr. Ramirez said, they're not gonna be able to do justice, especially to our heat.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
might as well just do it right now.
It gets pretty hot here in Laredo. You know, we had a comment made by the architect that one of these fans covers 6,000 square feet of air circulation, but in Laredo, I mean, we go by different numbers because of the temperatures.
Right.
So we'll get back with you on information on that possibly by the next update. But we are looking at the option to upgrade them. And these are just a couple of more new spaces there at the Moore Building, some enclosures for some of the cylinder tanks that they use, and then some of the work, electrical panels going on the right-hand side in the existing shop. So these are some items that were coming to get approval. This is the demolition of P7 and 8 and the West Annex. And these are actual pictures of the facilities. So we get approval, then we'll go ahead and fill in the dates for work to commence and substantial completion, punch list, and final completion for the work of that is required for demolition of these structures. And then we have the future LC Veterans Center also. And if approved, we'll go ahead and fill in those dates after we get the contractor in line.
Mr. Muir, I'm sorry, I can't remember right now, but is this item, the construction projects update on the agenda for tomorrow?
I believe that it is not.
No.
No?
It's a committee.
I just think it would be nice to see these pictures before we vote on the items that we have for the board members who are not here today and who have not seen them before.
It's not on the agenda.
So we can, okay.
Right.
Now, we can provide you pictures. We can provide pictures to the board members of the proposals, right? But for the ones that are on the agenda, which would be the demolitions and this building, but not all the other updates on construction.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
But-
Oh, Mr. Angel?
Thank you, Chair. But Dr. Ramirez, the item 4 and 5 is there, but I know Ms. Leando, I believe, has a committee report.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, can we have IT or staff submit them so she could go ahead and whenever she's giving her report, she
Flip
could
to
just
'em.
say, this is
Sure.
this is that.
That's a great idea.
So, because she
We
will be
can send you
reporting.
we'll send you the pictures.
Okay, that'll work, and I'll make it short. Quick. You may continue, Mr. Price.
Okay. And then these are some photos of some facility improvements that we've done, and these are rooftop restoration work. We recently had a contractor work on Lerma Peña on the older section of the facility as a phase 1. That work's been completed, and these are just photographs of the actual process and then the finished product on the right-hand side. So we're trying to concentrate on some of the roofs that are dated out there, and try to, put them in priority lists so we can go ahead and eventually work on them when funds are available. We have done some minimal work on Cajun around the skylight, and these are some of the photographs of some of that work that took place around the skylight. But this is another facility that also eventually needs to be considered for a restoration for the rooftop. And then one recently that we were made aware of is the Laird Hall here across from us. And these are some of the findings that I took and some of the photographs that were taken early last week. So we still have some sitting water and some acorns, and then you see a lot of the patching that has been taking place over the years. So this one is really in dire need of some repairs, and this just kind of gives you an idea of the condition of the facility right now. And I just want to make a note that while I was up there, I noticed that the old section of the Erie Library has this same system, and it's in the same condition. And we should probably put that section of the Erie Library on the list as well. And that's my report. If you all have any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duncan.
Yeah, I have a question, but it's tailored more to Dr. Ramirez and probably Dr. Maricela and Dr. Heriberto. All these buildings that we're expanding to bigger construction and everything, we're already working on the curriculum base to being able to, because correct me if I'm wrong, the classes will be able to, will either are going to be larger, or are we going to have more additional classes added to the curriculum?
I'll let them.
Yeah.
because
Maricela
there's a
Rodriguez
plan.
Tijerina, Provost Vice President of Academic Affairs, and I'll let Heriberto add if I missed anything. On the diesel, we had 60 to 80 on a waiting period for a long time. So part of this, the curriculum already exists. We just needed the space. So now what we're doing is obviously working on the added equipment we're going to have to order, as well as probably an added lab coordinator to help out with the expansion. In regards to welding, it already exists. It's a program that will start from 8 in the morning and last till 10 o'clock at night. Part of the problem, as Homer mentioned, is the ventilation. So now that they fixed that, we also needed the outdoor space to do that. I am going to verify on the ceiling fans, though, by lowering to what extent to where it doesn't interfere with the actual project. So I'll let the welding instructors identify the measurements of those ceiling fans. What else are we missing? The police, same
Police,
thing.
yeah.
There's a lot of expansion. I think in this next cohort, he has close to 40 cadets or 38 cadets. So everything just keeps growing, and in order to grow, we need
space.
space. We're very limited because sadly some buildings didn't take into account the growth. And so that's what we're doing. And these are very specific to the specialty lab. So it's not like lecture that we can move them around different buildings here. It's a specialized lab.
Okay. No,
I hope I
just
answered
wanted-
your
yeah, no,
question.
yeah, it does. So that's good that we're already putting a mindset of what we're going to be planning out. So that's really good.
And tomorrow we'll announce a very good thing for one of our faculty members who got an added welding certificate that we'll talk about tomorrow.
Yes.
So that will open also possibilities of other things that are expansions that currently don't exist now but will in the future.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Newsom, do you have any questions, comments?
I'm just excited about all that I'm hearing.
Dr. Ramirez?
I think there's still a second piece to the
Oh.
Yeah, we have
presentation.
Mr. Tejerina will go over plans facility project.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, Mr. President, Honorable Board Member, Mr. President, Huicho Tijerina, Physical Plant Director. So I just wanted to go over a couple of the things that we're doing in-house. So let's see if I can figure this out. So the bookstore, we have pretty much completed that. And as you can see, we We changed all the piping, redone all that, LED lights, painted the walls. So, and we added a washer and dryer there for all the linen that they use for the different events. So I think we're changing the name on that. Is that correct?
We're changing the name?
On the bookstore?
Well, yeah, it's not going to be the bookstore, but it'll be probably event services.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and then on the De La Garza restrooms, we got one done, one side done. I don't know if you all ever had been in there, but the one was pink, one was blue. Again, we've gone neutral on all the colors. We've already finished one bathroom and we're starting the second. P34 and P35, as you can see, we've done a lot of the paint job already. They changed out a lot of the boards. They did the balcony. You like it? There we go. So the Lerma Peña building, we've started changing out all the lights from regular lighting to LED lighting. So for the South Campus, the projects that we have here are the fire panel upgrades, the retrofix of the LED, the retrofit, I'm sorry, for the LED lighting as well. We're power washing the windows and walls at the yearly. We're sealing all the windows and repairs, interior wall paint, floor tile, and we're installing the LVT tile now, again, neutral colors. P-traps. A lot of these buildings, when they were built, on the plumbing side, they didn't have any P-traps. So our plumbers are actually installing those. We are painting all the staircases, the railings, and actually repairing some of the railings that have gotten old and damaged. And at the Saffirini Library, there's a crack in the foundation. We're pending approval to work on that. The Cedar Oaks pergola repairs is ongoing. We're upgrading our traffic signs. We're getting a cover for the pond. All the walkway brick, we're removing all that. The island recycled granite, we're taking that out, going back in with river rock. Again, changing out signs, a lot of irrigation repairs. The sports complex, irrigation, we got a new meter, or it's pending, I should say. Parking lot and road asphalt, that's also pending. Landscaping, erosion repairs, we're still ongoing repairing on that. And our chiller number 3, we just finished the renewal on that. So these are some of the buildings. As you can see, the guys are working. They're building C, the interior paint, the guardrails. As you can see, that they're all neutral colors again. We're all the painting of the staircases are gray. We continue to do that as well. These are some of the panels that I was talking about earlier that need to be replaced. They had circled them. On the outside, we're going with the LED lights. Same thing at the Saffirini building. On the protective services, we're doing the landscape there. As you can see on the north side, landscaping, we're going with that river rock as opposed to the granite. At the Raquel Gonzalez Landscaping. Also, we're getting that, and we're getting ready for that for the, I guess when we have the ribbon cutting. So we'll be ready to go when that comes about. And that's it. Those are our projects that we work on a daily basis with our in-house plumbers, maintenance crews, electricians, HVAC guys.
That's great. Thank you. I think you all are doing a lot of great things. And of course, we know that this helps to prevent from those buildings to continue to deteriorate. And so it makes its lifespan longer. So thank you all for what you're doing. Ms. Newsom, any questions? Dr. Ramirez?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered everything unless anybody else has any questions or comments. Can open that up. If not, then we are adjourned. We'll
Thank
see you tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone.